Heather Grant, and today we're going to talk about how to do charity work with your guild. Luana, you've really organized and distributed a ton of quilts. Isn't it around 8,000 or something?
It's actually over 10,000
Oh my
now.
goodness, wow.
And I've been really fortunate to be able to act as kind of a channel and a facilitator for receiving quilts, and most importantly, to make sure that they're distributed and they get into the hands of the people who are most in need.
So what are some things that guilds should think of when they're finding an organization or looking for a way to make charity quilts?
Well, you know, we have local disasters, we have international organizations that are traveling overseas to developing countries. And so for me, the most important thing is to make sure that the quilt actually makes it to where it's intended. So working with a trusted group, a trusted organization, I've worked, for instance, with Engineers Without Borders, delivering quilts to villages in Nepal where they had the earthquake. I've worked with Doctors Without Borders and also Mission of Love, delivering quilts to children who were receiving cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries in Guatemala.
Oh, wow. So those are all international organizations. Do you ever do any coordinating with local groups?
Yes, we've worked with Hurricane Sandy, and now we're going to be working with Hurricane Matthew survivors. And of course, when somebody loses everything, when you receive a comfort quilt from a stranger who you've never met, but maybe there's a label or a message on the back, I care about you, you know, I'm sending you my prayers and good wishes. There's something about that that's worth even more than a bottle of water or a case of food sometimes.
Yeah, it's so rewarding. I mean, like when I put together a charity quilt for an organization and to hear those stories of how people receive them, that's really amazing. How do you like distribute them? Like, how do you actually get them there?
Well, like I said, working with an organization is really key, an organization that you trust.
Yeah.
So I've shipped them all to one place, and an organization would have a truck full of hundreds or even thousands of quilts that would be delivered, and you have to have someone there who you can trust to make sure that it goes to the people who really need it. But for instance, when we sent 2,500 quilts to Japan, we had to arrange for it being shipped on an airplane, you know, a very large airplane with a lot of cargo space. You have to have someone who can handle customs, someone who can truck it, handle all the paperwork. So to work with an organization that's used to doing that is really helpful.
I can really manage all those logistics for you and everything.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
So what advice would you give guilds who are looking for a place to distribute their service projects?
Well, you know, modern quilts are utilitarian quilts.
Yeah,
so
they are.
It's just perfect for a modern guild to take on a project like this. And, you know, a lot of times a guild can get together and produce, you know, a dozen or a few dozen quilts in a relatively short period of time. And so I think that if you have a group of people who are massively producing quantities of them, and you find an organization that has a key person that you can work with, I think, you know, having good communication with that one person sometimes is the foundation for the whole project.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you produce one quilt, you can still reach out to that one person, to kind of the main person who kind of collects them all, like you do for your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, for instance, with Hurricane Sandy, we worked with a fabric company in New York that had a warehouse, and they received everything, and then we recruited other people to drive out to the coastline and deliver it to people who were living in their shattered homes.
Yeah, so it sounds like if a guild can't do it on their own, they can find people like you to, you know, be the conduit to distribute all these quilts.
For sure, yes. I mean, I'm going to continue doing this work for sure, and I encourage others to really look into how to put together a network of people who can support, like you said, the logistics of it.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. You know, there's so much work to put a charity quilt out there, and so we want to thank you for coming and talking to guilds about how to distribute and create charity quilts.